Hello, everyone joining me. Hello, everyone watching. I'm excited to be here as always. And today I feel like a young child. I just feel like a baby. That's how I've chosen to feel today so I can put myself in this topic we're discussing today. A very, very crucial, very, very important topic. It's an exciting one. When we think of children, naturally, we think of joy, we think of innocence, we think of the playfulness, we think of just the free spirit. They have no issues, no problem with anyone. They just want to have fun. They want to cry, they want to sleep, they want to eat, and that's it, really. They want comfort, safety, and to have fun. So that's how I'm feeling today. If you're joining me now, I really hope you've given StreamYard the permission to show your name. Please say hello to me. I love to know who is in the house because I love to acknowledge everyone. Okay, say hello, hello, Dayo, hello. My mental health matters, people. Just say hello. Okay, so we're talking about children's mental health. Children's mental health. And some people go like, okay, children's mental health. Why are we talking about mental health with kids? We just need to protect them. They just need to be happy. And hey, may nothing. Hello, baby Dayo. Who is this? I wish I know who this is. It's a hello. Thank you. Hello, baby Dayo. Exactly. That's how I feel today. And you know, I yes, some people will go children's mental health. Let's not talk about children's mental health. Let's just pray for children. Nothing will happen to them. But I always say this mental health, it's about us being healthy right from pregnancy to elderly age to old age to that phase of life where we're much older. So it leaves nobody out, right from that baby in the womb to the infant that we just delivered yesterday or 2 days ago or 1 month ago or 18 months ago, to that toddler, to the school age child, to the adolescent, to adults, young men, women, everyone. So children's mental health is a thing, and I want everybody to please pay attention. Oyisco pepperoni, Oyisco pepperoni. That's it's nice to see you here. That's my sister-in-law, and I'm excited she's able to join us live today. Oyisco, thank you. So, as I was saying, we need to pay attention to children's mental health. And today, I really, I wish we all will participate. And I'll tell us a story. And while I'm telling the story, I want you watching me to please type in, do you have fond childhood memory? Just put one in. One fun childhood memory or something you like to remember, something you say, oh, this happened to me when I was a child, maybe somewhere you visited, maybe an auntie that bought you something for Christmas. Maybe do you have any fun child memory, fun childhood memory? Please type it in. And as we're also talking today, I would like us to highlight or identify those who really needs to hear this kind of topic. Okay. And here's a story I want to tell. There's this sibling of mine. I believe that one of the most important things that happened to him in his lifetime is that day that I brought a baby to the house and he was at the door. Oh, that he was at the door and they brought his baby sister to the house and he was the first person to receive that child. And he remembered how he pampered the baby, how he was excited about having a baby. Like he prayed for this child. God has finally answered me. Now my mom gave me a baby sister, and he was so excited. And see, every time he has the opportunity to talk about it, he would say, oh, I remember the day, You were born. I remember the day they brought you from the hospital. I was at the door. I received you, and it was one of the most exciting things that happened. I was looking forward to having you. Okay, so somebody is sharing a childhood experience, a fun one. Says, I remember going to Trans Amusement Park in Ibadan. Okay, that's a fond memory for me too as a child. Trans Amusement Park, for those who do not know, it's like Disney in that town. You know, it's like a Disney World. You go there and have fun. We have all the roller coasters. We have all those things. So you know, whenever your parents have the opportunity to take you there for holiday or something, you are very excited to go there. So yes, that's a fun childhood memory, and I'm glad you have that to share. So now I'm talking about, see, this sibling of mine, my elder brother. I'm the baby that they brought to the house that he was so excited about. And every time he has the opportunity to talk about the day they brought his baby sister home that he was waiting for, he remembers the car. It's a panel van. They brought you home in a panel van. I used to give you birds in this bowl, maybe a white bowl or something. You know, that is, it's for me. I hear this thing and I'm happy. You know, in my mind, I'm like, I was longed for, I was accepted, and this is part of a memorable a part of my brother's life. And for me, hearing that story, it makes me very, very happy. And let's relate this now. This story that he tells every opportunity my brother has to talk about the day they brought me home from the hospital and he received me at the door. Every time he has the opportunity to talk about it, I bet that he talks about it with so much joy and satisfaction. Now let's flip that. Let's flip that to children who had negative childhood experiences. Let's flip that to children who were neglected, to children who were abused, to children whose parents were never there, or to children who would hear the story that they were abandoned, or to children who were so maltreated when they were children, or to children who never got gifts, to children who never got love. Just flip that excitement that my brother always had for those children who had complete opposite of such experience. Now, let's compare. My brother is able to talk about this experience every time. He talks about it. He wants people to hear about it. We laugh about it, and it's exciting to hear. On the other hand, how many people talk about negative childhood experience so often? They do not want to remember these things. They do not want to talk about it. They do not want anybody, they don't even want to share it. Uh, Let me share with you, as a clinician, I see new patients almost every day. Some days I see more than one at a time. And one of the questions that I ask them as part of our initial assessment is, tell me about your childhood. What was childhood like when I'm doing the psychosocial evaluation? And I've heard also, I've heard from, I don't want to talk about my childhood. It wasn't a pleasant thing. Do you mind if we don't go there? I respect that and I say, okay. But I note it. And then I try to refer them to a counselor, somebody they can talk to, because that is a loaded response. I've heard things like, oh, my childhood experience, oh, I grew up in a foster home. I never even knew my parents. Or I grew up in, I was adopted. Or I grew up in a group home. Oh, my childhood, my parents never cared for me. One that I heard recently was a child saying, oh, my mother had everything just all about her. And then you hear things like, my parents divorced when I was 3 years old, and then my mom got custody of me, and then later my dad got custody of me, and I moved to my dad's place. And my parents, I hear all sort of stories. And this, I'm not talking about when I'm seeing a child. I'm talking about when I'm seeing adults. I'm talking about when I'm seeing 50 year old. I'm talking about when I'm seeing geriatric patients, adolescent adults. They have this memory built there. Now, children's mental health is a thing. And Before I now go on to categorize what we're going to talk about today, it's going to be a short show. So, but let's talk about it. Who are the people that interact mostly with children? Let's make this as interactive as possible. Thank you for everyone showing up. Everyone's a very true, man. Yeah. So let's put in who are the people who are the people who get closer to children the most. Let's put this in. I have a long list of them, but I want us to participate. We have parents, but other than parents, who are the other people that get in touch with children? Who are the people who deal with children regularly on a daily basis? Who are those people? Let's talk about them. And as I'm waiting for your responses, I'm going to tell you under the three main topics we're going to discuss this children's mental health. And this is just the foundational information, the basics, the ABCs of children's mental health. The ABCs of children's mental health. So we're going to talk about the mental health. What does that look like? Then we'll talk about mental illnesses. What does that look like? And is there even a gap between, is there like a bridge? Is there something in between mental health and mental illnesses? And then let's talk about treatment. And on the treatment, we'll talk about the stakeholders. Yeah, so I think the responses are a bit delayed to come in, but I'll wait and I'm going to acknowledge them when they come in. So we have parents, we have the mom, we have the dad, we have the siblings of a child, we have caregivers. If a child had to be taken to daycare, if they have to get a nanny, if they have to have someone come into the house. And as they're growing older and they get to school, maybe preschool and all, they start having their teachers, they start having principals, they have instructors, they have sports coaches. And then, that's, every day. So from parents in the morning, then to their child caregiver, and then over the weekend, then they go to church or to mosque, or maybe during the day they even have some religious activities to participate in. So the church also, the children's ministry, all the people in the children's ministry. Let's talk from the leader, the main leaders in the church or mosque or any religious institution, and then those in the children departments in the church, in the churches or mosque. And then we have sports. Some children go to sports, so we have coaches, we have instructors, we have those who, we get to teach them one thing or the other. Or other than sports, we have maybe piano teachers, we have all so many people dealing with children. And another thing is, we have some children who they do not have that basic structure of parents going to daycare, going to the religious institution, or going to birthday parties during the weekend. We also have children who have to be who have to be institutionalized. There's some children who have to be in NICU for a long time, or they have chronic illness and they have to be in the hospital. Then some children, they have to, for some reason, go to maybe motherless babies' homes, or for homeless children, and they have this institution where they grow, or to group homes or to foster homes. We have that category as well. Okay. And I don't want us to leave anybody out. And that is why children's mental health is not just something for children, it's not just something for parents, it's not just something for those living in the home where children live, it's something that concerns everyone. Now, let me take it further. Now, if you think, oh, I do not belong to any of those categories, I don't even have a child, or anything children, leave me out of it. Okay, children are growing up to become adults, right? And then it is that society that you live. As the children are growing, you're growing. You're becoming, as the infants are becoming, they're growing. You are getting into the geriatric phase. And these children are going to be the one doing stuff around. So if we're having troubled teenagers, or we have robbery, we have homelessness, we have violence, we have things going on, it's going to be happening with the children that are those children that you think are not your business. They're growing up to be part of the society that you live in somewhere. In other words, we are all stakeholders. So we need to know that children's mental health is a thing, it's a serious thing, and it's very important. Now, let's talk about health. The mental health part of it starts from that childhood, the infancy. What happened to children at infancy? That is a stage where their primary bond, their primary person, the major person they know is the mother. And they should be breastfed. They should be shown the love, the care. Their needs will be met, should be met as soon or as they need it. They're crying. They need somebody to soothe them. They're salt. They need somebody to change them. They're hungry. They need somebody to feed them. They need to be held. They need warmth. They need all these things to be in place for them, even when they're like not aware of anything. And it is at that phase that every child is building that attachment. They are building and developing the emotional regulation. They are learning that this is how we regulate your emotions. Somebody would answer you when you cry. So they cry and then someone answers. And then when it gets to a point that on the flip side, a child keeps crying and there's nobody there. Or imagine a child that has to be in like a motherless baby home there's somewhere where the caregivers are not enough to give that kind of the natural response that every infant deserves. So they start getting kind of like deterred. So they start learning how to self-soothe. They cry till they sleep. They don't really value their attachment. Or a child that has to be institutionalized. I was reading a case study while preparing for this, and there's this case study of when they're talking about breastfeeding adopted children. The studies that support that even adopted children should be breastfed. And the studies even showed that, if you adopt a child that is 3 years old or 4 years old, at what stage do you stop initiating such? They said even until 4 years old, it's recommended that you try to initiate breastfeeding, even for adopted children, because of all these other things that we're talking about. Now, for these children, as they're getting healthy attachment foundation to a mother, it is one of the major foundational issues, the major foundation, the building block for everybody's mental health. That is where it all starts. That is where we start everything. That is the foundation of all everyone's mental health. It is important. So for parents or aunties and uncles and mothers and grannies and all that, and even leaders in the workplace, institutions and all, we need to support breastfeeding. That is why for countries, for organizations that do not support prolonged maternal leave after delivery, I'm advocating it now. And if you're here listening to me and you're a leader, please think about this for the sake of children's mental health. Breastfeeding is very, very crucial. The policies vary from countries to countries, from organizations to organization, from culture to culture. But this is one of the foundation of mental health for every child because it promotes bond. It helps with emotional regulation. It helps with healthy attachment foundation for everyone. So that's one. At that infancy phase. Now, as they're growing up, parents again, we need parents, and then children start seeing stuff. They look around, they're observing the environment, they're seeing the environment, they're seeing the interaction between mom and dad, they see the interaction between uncle and aunties, they see all these things going on. What are they exposed to in the house with their parents? Harvard University Child Development Center for Child Development described children's mental health this way. They said it's like the brain of a child when it's born, it's like uh, uh, a place where we just have a building, the empty space to build something strong on, to build a good mental house, to build a good mental health, physical health, everything on. And they describe it as whatever happens to a child at that phase it's either the negative foundation, or if it's negative, I mean, whatever they have there, it's either the negative or the positive. So we have that foundation, and whatever will be on top of that foundation, it's going to be significantly impacted by whether or not it's negative or positive. So as a child is growing, parents, we talked about that attachment. Now as they're growing, what about the environment? Again with parents. But other than parents here, as they're observing what they're seeing, what's going on? What are they experiencing? Are they experiencing neglect? Are they experiencing abuse? Are they experiencing are they experiencing poverty? Are they experiencing homelessness? And homelessness does not mean that you are unsheltered. Homelessness can mean that you're just not in a home of your own. You have to squat with family members. You have to move from house to house. You have to stay in a place that is not the best place or your own home or house. That's homelessness. I had a patient one day that was telling me, oh, I remember that my mom, when my mom had me, my dad did not accept my pregnancy. And it was really difficult for my mom. Now, this is a 14-year-old child. So my dad did not accept my pregnancy. And then we had to leave with my mom's sister. And my mom's sister was very, very hostile to us. I saw the way she talked to my mom every time. I saw how she did not like my mom, and then she said my mom had to leave me at home with her with her and her children and go look for money so that we can rent another house, so that we can save some money to rent the house. But that took her such a long time. And in the process, this mom's sister, the aunt, her children, her sons, sexually abused this child. The mom, I was getting to know the child after, at some point, the mom discovered. But I'm telling you how much children see. I was taken aback when she said, my aunt was really hostile to my mom. I saw the way my aunt talked to my mom. She did not like my mom, so I was always afraid and waiting for my mom to come back home. So they slept on the couch. That's homelessness. And she remembered that my dad did not accept my pregnancy. You see that? So all those things happening in a child's life do not just go unstored. They go into that hardware, into the memory, and they are pulled out to impact what is happening in their lives on a daily basis, or to impact decisions they make later in life. So environment is one other very, very crucial thing. So neglect, or is one of the parents incarcerated? Do you have one of the parents, having mental health issues, and maybe they have psychotic breakdowns, and the child see this in the home? This is in the home. This is with parents. Are they experiencing or seeing or exposed to all these things? So in the environment, home environment with parents, so much can also be going on. Children are watching, and we have to be mindful of these things. Let me tell you this again. I've also had a child tell me, this is I think, I'm not sure if it's 7 or 9 years old. And this child I'm seeing for behavioral problems. just not behaving, throwing tantrums, started using negative words for parents. And, I think it's a 7-year old and it's becoming really bothersome. And, the child told me when I was talking, like, oh, when I engaged with him and I was telling me what's happening, he said, well, I hear my parents argue in the room every night. They think that I'm sleeping, so they keep shouting. They're even saying that if not because the kids are sleeping and I don't want to wake them up. That was the first time the dad, because it was the dad that brought the child for assessment. That was the first time the dad knew that his son hears everything they talk about. Now, the son thinks it's his fault, and the son is not really able to cope with it and is afraid to tell them that he listens or hears what they're saying because he thinks he's going to be punished for that. So, with parents, what's really going on? Let's flip it. When a child is growing up in a healthy home, growing up in a home that is filled with love, where parents talk to themselves respectfully, where parents show love to each other in the presence of the children, when parents talk to the children as if they are one unit, when parents protect their children, when parents let them know their boundaries, when there's a structure, it is such an integral foundation for healthy mental status of any child. And then in the future, they grow up to become much more healthy, stable, emotionally stable adults. Okay, let's move forward. Now, these children, they started going to school, and there are things going on in school that sometimes parents have no clue is going on. And this, I want to call attention of educators here. You teachers, principals, you daycare owners, you proprietors and proprietresses, all these things going on in school. I mean, I was reading a news on social media yesterday about something that happened in a school in Lagos, and it broke my heart. I couldn't even watch the video. Now, things are going on in school that we don't know. And one that is very, very common that I see that parents don't even pay attention to, or parents think it's such a, it's, they think it's overrated. Bullying. A lot of kids are being bullied. And if you're a parent of an immigrant anywhere, you're a parent of an immigrant, you might want to know that a lot might be going on, fitting in, bullying, not coping or struggling academically, learning disabilities, having concentration problem. All these things can be going on that you do not know. And another thing is educators, what are you putting in place for children's mental health? There are regulations in place and policies in place helping, teachers and schools to put some things in place so that, they're able to know and they do all those things. But personally, how are teachers talking to your children? How are educators interacting with children? What are the things they're saying? What are you doing to each child? A child might say, I think that my teacher doesn't like me, or my teacher treats me differently from other people. This is not to blame teachers. I'm just calling our attention to some things going on in school that kids might be experiencing that we need to be intentional about. So that's it. That's one. Parents, at home, healthy or not, school, healthy or not, churches, mosque, religious institution, what are the things going on there? What do you have in place? you know we have the divinity part of it, and that cannot be underestimated. It is important, and children need it. Sometimes it's their only place of solace, and they need it to be as soothing, as safe, as comfortable, as non-toxic as possible. That's another thing. So for illnesses, mental illnesses. The CDC tells us, according to their data, and this is, in the United States, 1 out of 6 children aged 2 to 8, 1 out of every 6 children aged 2 to 8, they have a diagnosis of either mental, behavioral, or developmental disorder. 1 out of 6. But guess what? Of the children, of the young children, even though the statistics here says, children and young people, 70% of them do not even get any professional intervention. Nope. There's nothing wrong with my child. Nope. You don't need to see anybody. All you need is discipline. Nope. He's just seeking attention. Nope. We don't do that in our family. Nope. We're just going to keep praying about it for so many reasons. Or no, I do not want anybody to label my family as the crazy family. I don't want my child labeled as the crazy child. So by that, we have a lot of children going undiagnosed. And the three common mental health issues, there's several of them, or the three common mental illnesses that we see in children: depression, anxiety, and attention problem. ADHD, very common. People hear about it. But there's also the argument, oh, we talk about ADHD so much in the Western world, all these things, they talk about this thing so much, but I was always all over the place. My mom spanked me and I behaved. I was all over the place. My teacher couldn't cope with me. All this, all that. Why do we have to use medication now? The question I have for people who talk that way is, think about it. Think about how much you would have achieved. Think about how much you could have had completed. Think about how much progress you would have made if you had the right treatment in place and the right accommodation in place for what was happening. That is, if you really had a diagnosable, say, ADHD, ADHD, attention deficit hyperactivity disorder. So imagine. So we should not just put all those things on children and say, hey, we don't need to have all these things done. They're important, they're essential to address. So 1 out of 6, that is quite a number. It's about 17% of children. So please, there are children who actually have mental illnesses, and we have also developmental disorders, like children that have ADHD, children that have neurological issues, children that have stuff that needs to be taken care of. We need to treat these things. We need to know that they exist, and this is where early intervention is so important. Because at this phase, if we can have things done, early intervention for children, it goes a long way. Just like I just illustrated with ADHD. Like, if a lot of children will have that early intervention, they will be in a better place now. It's okay where you are if you think if everything is okay the way you are. Maybe if some things were in place for me, I would be somewhere else, or maybe I would have achieved something different, but I'm fine where I am. But what if I was able to get the right intervention? What if I was able to have some accommodation? What if I was able to get some attention? Or what if I was able to have some of the things I was going through sorted at a very early age? I bet things will be better. So that's it for illnesses. There are children with mental illnesses that needs treatment. And so often, parents know these things. Parents see it. Their gut tells them there's something off. But most parents are in denial. Most parents are in denial. And just as we talk about parents and all these other people that get involved in a child's life, what I've heard from educators and other people, child caregivers, is that when they call a parent's attention to this, they are often in denial. Well, there's so many things to talk about. How are you calling their attention to it? What are you really doing? Are you talking about their children as a burden, as to, hey, how can we support your child? Are you being asked to their child? Are you being asked to them? All so many factors go into that. But the bottom line is, when parents are told these things that other people observe outside, how soon, how early are we jumping on it? Sometimes it takes a longer time than it should be. And if we have early intervention, things will be better. So no. Now I want to go to the part of treatment slash what do we need? Who are the stakeholders? So with treatment, there are so many things attached to treatment. There are, two major types of treatment for children, just like with adults, but it starts with diagnosis. It is not easy, or it takes a lot to diagnose a child with a mental illness. They're tricky. Sometimes you're like, are they having just developmental trouble? Is it just adjustment to something? Because you don't just want to just slam a child with something, that it's just the face. Maybe something happened. And that's why the assessment is usually very comprehensive. That's why providers and clinicians are usually very conservative with diagnosis of children with mental illnesses. But if we will get on it sooner, at least even if it takes accommodation, adjustment, moving some things around, it's better than ignoring all those things. So we have medication, we have therapy, and then all kinds of therapy for children, play therapy, family therapy, behavioral, all sort of therapies for children, specific for children, all sort. It is not every child that needs medication, but some child do need medication. And it is not every child that will take medication for the rest of their lives. Sometimes they just need that to cope. Maybe sometimes they need medication to help them even to help them focus, or to help them settle down for the therapy to be implemented. Sometimes they need it for that for a period of time and then they get off it. But sometimes they might need it for a prolonged time. But whichever one is going to be, it's better to have it in place than to not have it in place. With treatment, again, we come to parent, comes to policies. Just like with breastfeeding, there are countries, there are cultures, there are religions, there are personal principles of so many parents, that directly oppose children's treatment. And it is not the best for children. So, as you know, I always focus on leaders. And this time around, these leaders will start with parents. We'll start with grannies and grandpas. We'll start with uncles and aunties. You can talk to your sibling about, hey, I think we can support you with this child, or how can we help, or what do you think is going on, in a loving way, to help parents deal with this. But you are stakeholders. The policies we have, if I have a child on medication, and I know that my siblings will laugh at me, or it's going to be like the ush ush thing, oh, our child is on medication, oh, our child is being treated for depression, oh, God forbid, or oh, they're not praying enough, or oh, they're just tarnishing our family image. If I knew that it would be the response of my family members, I would not want to discuss it with them. It might even prevent me from seeking the right children, the right care for my child. And the same with children with neurodevelopmental issues, children that need all sort of accommodation or the other. I know Bola Tito is somewhere she specializes with children with disabilities, which she calls CD ability, not the dis in the disability. Bola Tito says that. Bola Tito Fatoki, she's a specialist when it comes to helping children with disabilities. So there are resources around, but that's even also in some places. Some countries don't have such resources. And another thing is, for in some places we don't even have enough providers. We don't even have enough professionals. But all these things start with the major stakeholders: parents, educators. If you're a school owner, you do not have a program in place to identify or at least to screen and to a process to inform parents, a process to support parents, a process to accommodate children with special mental health needs, then please go back to the drawing table with your team and start working on it. It's not too late. It's rather late. It's rather we have it late than never. And then to policymakers at the top there, ministers of education, commissioners of education, school proprietors and proprietresses, the pastors, the imams, the children activity coordinators, the coaches, the all those things. You are stakeholders. We all know all the news coming out now with coaches that abuse children when they were coaching them, when they were taking them for sports, when they were taking them for things, all sort of crazy things. But that tells you that all these people are stakeholders as well. Let us do something. Let's make children's mental health a thing wherever we are, right from the home, schools, in the community, and with policies that we're making that impact in lives. Let me quickly touch on the ABCs, the foundation, some things we need to put on there. The things we need to put in there for mental health of children, I will mention briefly. First is that attachment. A good, healthy attachment is important for every child. And some of the building blocks that we need also is we need sleep. They need very healthy sleep pattern. We put that in the box, in the right box. They need sleep. Go and check how old is your child, what is the recommended sleep hours for your child, and please start implementing it. We have games, we have activities, we have sports, we have so many things competing with the child's sleep time, but at least know it and work towards it the best you can. That's it. Put sleep in. Then we have nutrition. Let's put nutrition, healthy nutrition. A lot of parents, including myself, struggling with how do we even make healthy choices for these children? Because they want sweet. We have picky eaters. We have a child with nutrition issue. We have a child that will not eat that. We have a child that loves sweets. Or we have a child that won't even eat. How can we help them? Nutrition, there are all sorts that I cannot go into now that are building blocks to how a child regulate his or emotion based on the nutrients, based on the nutrition, based on their diet. Let's look into that as a parent. How old is your child? What is the right thing? Do it. Let's put colors on the plates. Let's put colors on the plate. If you need help with that, seek it. Now, we also need a relationship. Building healthy relationship with our children. Some of us think that is just a role. Children want attention. Children want to be played with. Children want to be listened to. Children want to be validated. They want to be seen. They want that connection and the bond with you, with the parents. If you are privileged to have your children with you, because like I said, some children do not have the privilege of being with their parents. Either they lost their parents, to death, either they were in a war zone, either something happened, and some children are not able to do that. So it puts it now on foster parents and parents who adopt children. Connect with them. And if you have your own biological children, build that relationship. It flows over to every other thing happening outside. Now, another important one, exercise. Exercise, playing outside, getting them active, getting them moving, getting their brain to work to do something. They need to stay active. These things, the ones boosting serotonin, the one doing all those things, they need these things to stay active. So these building blocks, let's put each one where they belong. I'll say them quickly again. The attachment from the beginning, relationship with parents, their sleep hygiene, their diet, and then staying active. Those are the ABCs, the foundation for mental health for every child. And as we go further, that's when we go into their experiences, their environment, and the things happening around them. So, to everyone who has stayed watching, to everyone watching this video, to everyone that has contributed, to everyone that will share this video or call the attention of somebody that they know, that you've heard is a stakeholder when it comes to children's mental health, I thank you. Please let them know. Please tell somebody. You're close to a minister of education, tell them about, hey, what are you even doing about mental health in your schools? You're close to a commissioner of health, tell them, oh, what are you doing with this and that? You have grandchildren, you have however you think you come into play. You own a school, you have a daycare facility, you're activity director, you know a coach, you know somebody that works with children. Ask them, what do you even do about mental health? What's this thing about children's mental health? Bring up the conversation. Let's talk about it. Let's be intentional about it. And like I said, even if you do not have a child, these children are growing to be part of the community, this society that you live in. And you are not left out in anything and everything that they will do, either on the negative part or the positive part. But we have the power to make it positive. So let's go for that. Okay? So until I come back next week. And next week, I'm going to be bringing some stakeholders here. Parents, coach. We're going to be bringing a school owner. We're going to let them tell us what are they doing, what's happening, what are they seeing, what do they want parents to know, what are their challenges, what are they putting in place. We're going to have that. And then we'll also have a guest that's going to talk about the impact of trauma on a child's mental health. So that's how exciting this is going to be. So get ready. Ask questions. Get ready. This is going to be fun. And this is going to have a lifelong impact in your life and my life. So take care. I'll end this with my favorite question. My mental health matters. The question is, what about yours? See you next week.